Nebraska has a new top-rated recruit in their 2025 class. Isaiah Mozee announced his commitment earlier today on X, and boy, is it a big one. He is a versatile playmaker in every sense of the word, and I'm going to get into a little bit of what makes him so valuable and what will make him so valuable in this offense moving forward. I got about 5 plays of film I'm going to break down for y'all really quickly, and just a brief film study to show you some of the high overview stuff of what he does well. Now, first things first, my name is Justin Adams. I am a channel host here at Nebraska Football, the voice of college football. If you like what I'm doing here, please consider dropping a like and commenting. Y'all tell me in the comments you like me, so drop that like. It's right there. Just hit the like button real quick for me. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think. And if you're new here, subscribe to keep up to date with all the latest and greatest. I promise I don't always talk this much, but let's go ahead and get into Isaiah. So Isaiah Mozee, of course, we know the story of his dad being hired about a month ago. Nebraska has been on the recruiting trail of him for a while. This was not his first visit. June was not his first visit. He's been here a few times before. Again, the most recent visit outside of this last one was in June. He was an Oregon commit at that time. There's, what was going on with Oregon. There was some transparency issues there within Oregon. The Oregon fans were kind of, like I said before, lukewarm on his level of commitment based on that. And now he's a Cornhusker. But I just wanted to touch on the Oregon stuff real quick, but I don't want to focus too much on that, just what he brings to Nebraska. Now, Jamar, of course, his dad is going to be able to work with him directly one-on-one on the field as he was hired. And now specialists, analysts, those guys are going to be able to work on the field coaching with these guys. So a little bit into his player profile here. 6'1", 185-pound wide receiver out of Lee Summit North and Lee Summit, Missouri. 90 rated according to the 24/7 Sports. Top 30 rated receiver. 91 rated according to their 24/7 Sports Composite. A 31st ranked receiver, second in the state of Missouri. So wherever you look, very, very highly rated kid. And it jumps out at you on the film when you watch this guy just move and just the way he operates at the wide receiver position. So he had a laundry list of offers: Nebraska, Oregon, Kansas, Alabama, Arkansas. So, a highly coveted recruit, and Nebraska was able to swoop in and get him. And you have to think a lot of it had to do with the fact that they were getting Jamar, but also there was a little quote that I saw on X earlier posted by Jim in Minnesota, or Jim in MN, if y'all want to follow him on X. But it says, Matt Rhule is my type of guy. He is himself, and that goes a long way. He knows how to treat people. He has great people around. He believes in his goals, and he works hard for them. Now, that is very, very telling for a recruit to come in and be able to talk so highly about not only the coach, but the type of people who he has around him and just who he is as a person and his work ethic. That obviously is something that Isaiah values. And I'm sure his dad has also told him, kind of how Matt Rhule is, et cetera, et cetera. So, hearing those praises from recruit and echoing the same sentiment that we hear from a lot of recruits is again another good thing, that the kind of the messaging coming out of there and kind of the headspace of these recruits coming out of Nebraska tends to be very, very consistent after each and every visit. So whatever they're doing structuring process wise on the recruiting trail, and however they have this operation running, it is running like a well-oiled machine. And Matt Rhule, just his authenticity is what brings it all together. The staff's authenticity, the players' authenticity, the camaraderie, the community, the feeling in the locker room. That is what's causing a lot of these guys to be landed now. We could roll out the red carpet for anybody, but if they're not feeling it within the building, if they don't feel like there's something there, right, there's going to be this feeling within the building, especially at a place like Nebraska, if things are right. And we haven't had that feeling for a while. So it's really good to hear that coming out of these recruits throughout this process. So let's go ahead and dive into a little bit of his film. And I got about 5 plays I'm going to break down, just showcasing some of his ability. Now, if you've watched my film studies before, you know that I do like to go very in detail, in depth. I'll try to refrain from going too in depth here, as I want this to kind of be abbreviated 5-play film study. But let's go ahead and dive right into it. So this first place here, we don't get to see too terribly much off of the line of scrimmage. It's kind of already in the motion of the play, but you can see Isaiah. He's going to be coming across the top up here. So let me go ahead and let this run a little bit. All right, so he's going to snare that out of the ball. Good ball skills. We can see it right there already. Just, that's not an easy catch to make. That ball was thrown with a lot of velocity. Go up and get that ball, snare that ball. And not only that, you're going to see right here off of when he comes off the screen, you're going to see a little bit of a spin right before he goes off. Right there. Boom. Just a quick spin that shows his quick feet. Now it's going to run a little bit. You're going to start to see where he gets into a little bit of traffic right here. So, he's a skinnier guy, 6'1, 185. So he's not a very big, bulky guy, but can run through some tackles, can power through some tackles, as we see here on the film, just keeps his feet moving, keeps his base beneath him, has great balance, has great vision, and he's able to get up the field. So let's go ahead and move it across to the second play. All right. So you're going to see here, this is a lot of what comes across on his film. It's a lot of screens. It's a lot of go routes. And I'll showcase some of his route running on the final slide here. But if you watch here, this is going to be a little screen to the outside. Now he's going to back up here. You're going to see these blockers right here start to seal off this edge and set up this blocking. But right here, you'll see there's one-on-one right here, but then these three guys, right? There's a few guys that he's going to have to beat out here by this play design. So first thing that he's going to do is he's going to watch the ball into his hands. Again, you love to see a guy who can look the ball into his hands, waits to get his head around, has the ball in his hands. Now he's looking upfield, right? So everything turns in unison, hands, heads, hips. Everything keeps his balance. So he has a blocker down here on this bottom side, as you're going to see. So he's going to shoot this gap here, gets tripped up a little bit, throws a stiff arm in the middle of it, is able to kind of regain his balance, doesn't go too far with his head over his knees. So again, balance is something I'll say a lot through his film study. But one thing that I'll notice here when he's going up the sideline, watch, he's going to throw this little stiff arm right here. But the thing about a stiff arm is he throws this out here right now. This guy's momentum is going to carry him out of bounds. He sees this guy coming up. So it's going to carry him into him, or it's going to carry him out of bounds. So what he's going to do is he takes that stiff arm down at the last second. I'm going to let it run here. Pulls that down, and he's just going to kind of shuck him off, right? He's just going to kind of use that angle that he had against him. He feels like he has a little bit more speed, could get ahead of him. So he's not going to use that stiff arm, get a little bit ahead of him, make this cut inside. That way he can beat both guys. He's not going to accept defeat on that sideline. So you like a guy who's going to be able to not stop when the play, when someone would think a play is dead, use that stiff arm to push him out of bounds. Instead, what he's going to do, brings that down, cuts back inside, and is able to score. So it's the little things like that, right? Like he's not just situated on one move. He's not like, I'm going to stiff arm here and that's going to be the end of it, right? He's playing, he's flowing, right? The cerebral aspect of this game is you got to be adaptable, right? So he had that arm out there last second, decides, okay, I'm going to try to just shuck him off and make a cut inside. I'm going to make a bigger play out of this. Those are the plays that you love to see from a guy who is coined as a playmaker. Make the play and the biggest play you can make possible with the skills that you have, and that's what he's done. So let's go ahead and move on to third play. All right, so play 3 here. This is where you can really start to get versatile with a guy like him. So the defensive players in a lot of cases on this film will be expecting a deep go ball. And of course, right here against the sideline, they're probably not expecting a deep go ball, of course. But it's the threat of his speed and his ability that he is able to sell these routes very, very well on his first few steps. So this is going to be a little bit of a screen where it's a long developing screenplay, right? But you'll see a little bit of his change of direction, his explosiveness, his quickness, and his ability to, stop his momentum and completely shift it the other direction. And that goes to his first step, explosiveness, etc. So let's go ahead and let this run a little bit. So out of the break here, going to run a few steps up, right? And then drops the hips to get his hips around, gets his hips and head around. Now he's going to be pulling back this direction. So he's trying to create as much separation from this guy, this defender over here as he can, because he's going to want this guy to be able to come back and set a block. So he has to sell that, get his hips around as quick as possible, and try to beat that guy off of this break. So here he comes, sits down, drives his hips back, kind of separates from that guy, has a blocker coming across. Now watch his ability here to get back into this space right here and drop and immediately get back upfield. So this shows his explosiveness, his quickness, and his change of direction, his quick feet. So let it run. Up, sells it back. Boom, drop drive, and he's right up the field. on balance and everything, right? He's moving fast, right? Some things, some plays like this, right? He's moving very, very fast, but he's not moving too fast and getting out in front of himself. So a lot of receivers, if you see they run a route and they stumble, right? It's usually because they are kind of outrunning their feet, right? They're trying to do a little bit too much too quickly, and they're not staying within their balance, staying within themselves. What he does very, very good is even when he's operating at a high speed play like this, right? And he has to do a lot of choppy and explosive movements. He, in all of those plants and all those breaks and all those pivots, he never falls over himself. And that is one key thing here because that is the make or break difference between a touchdown and a play getting stopped, right? So again, let's let it run. He's going to trick that first defender out or at least get some separation there so this guy can come across and block, finds the ball. Now he's going to take 1, 2, 3, drop step. Now look how quick that third step was into driving into that foot. The footwork here. Boom, boom, boom. Drop, plant, no wasted movement, right? A couple steps to get up to speed, balance, even gets tripped up here a little bit, keeps his balance, posts, and scores. That is a beautiful, beautiful, excellent play by him. That is one of my favorite plays on his film. So let's go ahead and cut into. All right, so on this one, I want to showcase a little bit of his ball skills because he's good concentration and he does have good ball skills. So, well, of course, as a playmaker, ball skills are really underrated in terms of like when your ability to play on a screen and stuff like that. A lot of people think of ball skills as your ability to go track down a ball and things like that. So, but let's go ahead and let this play run. Now, the first thing we'll notice again is the defenders play off of him a lot. So you'll see this defender is also going to get a little bit of a head start backing up. And he is going to almost give him a free release to the sideline. So what he wants to do in this play, evident by what he did, is he's going to shade his hips to the outside so he can try to force Isaiah to that sideline. And what he wants to do is he wants to force him to that sideline, and he wants that red line, which is what we call that zone over there, to himself. So he's going to try to force him off a spot, and that way he doesn't have to play the inside or worry about him breaking off a route to the inside. He wants to just be able to play that outside and play that go, or be able to force him to the sideline. So let's go ahead and let this run here. All right, so he's playing off of him. It's a little backup. You see his hips open up, right? Isaiah gets a free release down that sideline. He's going to loft the ball up to him. Now it's a slightly underthrown. So the defender here is going to get a chance to kind of recover a little bit and make a play. You're going to see Isaiah go up and get this ball. The defender's, let's see where I run. So defender's chest is even, or defender's arm is even right here in his chest, kind of in between the arm and the ball, on the arm. But Isaiah is able to go up and get that contested, pull it away from him, and come down with it. Again, great concentration and a guy who's not very big to be able to go up, wrestle that ball away. Again, just good concentration, good focus, great hands, ability to go up and get that ball. And not only that, survive the contact of the ground, come down with it. That is just a beautiful, beautiful play. Great ball skills as well. All right. And here's the final play on this. And I just want to showcase a little bit of his route running ability here. It comes down to the quick feet, the choppiness, and the change of direction as well. Just the agility, the acceleration. So let's go ahead and let this play run. Now, first thing I want you to notice that I'm gonna call attention to is the stance, right? And I'm not gonna go into every single detail about the wide receiver stance, but the way his stance is, I just want to watch the result of when these two players get off the line. So if you watch him come off the line and watch him come off the line. So the first thing I want you to do is watch him come off the line. And I want you to watch that rear leg. See how it's almost just a roll onto that toe and a drive, roll and drive, right? Slight drop in the knee, roll and drive, because he's got that little slight bend in the knee already, right? This receiver down here, on the other hand, he has that leg straightened out. So what he's going to have to do is he's going to have to take a drop step, which is, it's another half split millisecond that he has to take to get off the line. So watch his drop step. You see how he really has to kind of bend that knee completely and almost drop and drive that foot into the ground. Boom. It's like he has to pick it up, plant it, and go. Whereas Isaiah up here, one more time, let me just get this one more time up here, is going to roll into that and just drive. Boom. It's just a short little drop in the knee and just a roll onto your toe. So That's going to save a lot of time in some of these routes. And that is a great base to have because a lot of route running, not just this play, but a lot of route running stems from that. And you want a receiver who has good mechanics off of the line because every single step is going to help them. Every single advantage that they can give themselves is going to help them at the next level, especially. So you like to see things like that as well. But let's go ahead and continue this on. Let me let it run. So what you're going to see here is he has some big strides here to sell the route, right? And then the choppy feet. So I want to point out something in just kind of the way he stops here. But let's go ahead and so watch the long strides off the break or off the route. Sorry, boom, 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 long strides. He sells that last one, a big stride. But one of the things that he does is he waits until this defensive back has broken his hips to the outside or inside, or just turned his hips up the field. Initially, they're square with them, but he gets those hips up the field, then he breaks back, right? Then that defensive back's off balance. He's able to get upfield, make a play, come back and get the ball again. So sells that big, big final step there. Now you see the defender's hips break up the field, and he is going to now the way he stops here, it's interesting because he doesn't stop sideways, right? Like he's going to stop with his hips still facing this direction, and then he's going to get everything around in unison. Again, just flip everything. That helps kind of keep his balance. He's able to see the ball in. Don't like him necessarily catch it with the body, but it's a low throw. But good on him for able to come back and get the ball. Now, this defensive back here was just kind of falling all over himself at that point, just because he saw the route so well, was able to get out on it. Boom. Just a quick move up the field. And then he kind of gets run down right there. So the thing about him being a burner and just having the abilities that he does, we look at a guy like a Jalen Lloyd, who is a burner, you know, however many 33 yards average per catch, right? But when you can get a guy who's like that, who can develop his route running and be a threat throughout the route tree, those players then become very, very, very valuable. You look at Isaiah Nair, right? Isaiah Nair is a guy who can go up and get 50-50 balls. He can operate in space. He can do a lot of different things for you. The versatility on this offense is what is key. Now, Jamar or Isaiah's lined up in the backfield a few times, so they play him at running back. They play him. So even at the running back position, you see some of his runs and you see him running through physical contact. You see him running up the middle, but it's all in his balance. It's all in his quick feet, the way he keeps his legs driving, the way he keeps moving. But the yards after catch is going to be one of the biggest things and strengths of his. But he's going to be paired with guys like, on the field with guys like Jalen Lloyd's and et cetera, et cetera. And this offense in a couple years, as we are able to get some more of these playmakers and some of these guys to fit this system and to pair with Dylan Raiola, the sky's the limit. And I think Isaiah Mozee, a guy like him, is just the start. And I cannot stress to you how big of a get this was for Matt Rhule and company. This is a huge, 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 massive win. And I'm excited. Isaiah was a guy that they had to land. Once we landed Jamar, they had to land Isaiah. They did it. Mission accomplished. Now we wait and see David Sanders, Michael Terry. What are they going to do? And we'll be here to cover it when they do. So hope y'all enjoyed that film review. If you did, drop a like. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment as